Yo, what's good, folks? What's up, homies? It's your boy TrapDragon-Z, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. The first one that we're doing like this with video. Today, I'm talking about the characters that we relate to the anime characters we relate to the most. And I got UrbanSama with me, Devious Sama specifically. So let's go ahead and get him in here. That just taking longer than I expected. All right. Dang, I ain't like that.
It was good,
I was like, all right, let's get him in here. And then he wasn't in here. It was ridiculous. Now, what up, bro?
We working through things. What's good, y'all? What's good? Trap, how you feeling, bro?
And I'm glad I'm finally sitting right here. You know, before this, I was moving around, had appointments. Clearly, had to go get my hair cut. So, it wasn't specifically for the podcast, but I wasn't about to miss no appointment. But I got my dog in here, UrbanSama, Devious Sama specifically. I know I'm gonna let him tell y'all the difference between it all, because at first I thought that it was all one person. So let us know a little bit about yourself.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so I am Devious Sama of UrbanSama. So basically, I be telling people like UrbanSama is a collective of like creators, hosts who kind of like a network where we come together and create content. I am one of those content creators, editors of that process, but ultimately we just trying to bring you like dope anime content and good vibes, you know what I'm saying? Good dialogues, discussions, and like recommendations. We get people talking, or we try to.
Yeah, it caught my attention, at least, for sure. If y'all ever take a look at UrbanSama page, he got it set up so aesthetically pleasing. Like me, I be like off the cusp with stuff, but if you look at it, like everything is well put together. I'm always surprised that it has not like reached the amount of people that I expected to quite yet, but I know it's gonna get there. So that's definitely why I had to have him on the show, because I know that audience is, like I explained to you yesterday, very sticky, and I can see a lot of people really linking up with the stuff it is that you do.
Appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that.
Today we talking about the anime characters that we relate to the most, not our favorite, because I feel like that list would have been super long.
OD.
That list would have been super long if we picked our favorite characters across the board. But I think it would have not been. I don't know. I might do an episode like that, but I think that when you pick the anime characters that relate to you the most, I feel like it says a lot about who you are as a person. And certain people, I feel like if you pick the right character, it'll reveal some pretty bad stuff about you. So I'm gonna let you go first.
You said if you pick a bad character. That's why I was like, yeah, this is gonna be an interesting combo. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You said you want me to go first?
Yeah, and I ain't write my list down beforehand either. Like I wanted me to have to go through the pondering like on the podcast.
Why you gotta put me on the spot though?
Yeah, cause I ain't all right. I go first. Since it's me, I go first.
Yeah.
So this one, and forgive me if I say anybody's name wrong, because that's just me, and I don't know how to pronounce them names well. I could have known them forever, but I don't pronounce them well. But Asagi from Blue Lock. And
hey, let's fucking go. Go pick.
Yo, Devious put me on to Blue Lock to begin with, because I was like, I'm not about to watch no soccer anime. One, I don't even watch regular soccer, so I definitely wasn't about to watch no soccer anime. But the way that, just shout out to that show in general, because the way
big shout out,
they break down like playing soccer, only anime can make, something that's not supposed to be that intense. But the reason I feel like I relate to him the most is because one, if I don't want to get no spoilers to the anime, but his power, quote unquote, or his weapon, is being able to his spatial awareness and being able to see like how the game is playing out, from like a bird's eye view, and just his intuition around the game. And I feel like I can relate to that a lot because at first it was very hard for him to figure out like what his weapon was, because he wasn't super fast, he couldn't jump high, like that. It wasn't obvious. And I feel like for me, like my skill sets going through life wasn't very easy for me to pick up on starting off. Like it was when I was younger, I didn't get like no type of muscle mass till I was like in 8th grade. Like it all just hit like with athletics and stuff like that. So it was just hard for me to figure out like through life in general, going job to job, stuff like that. And once I got like with like doing the social media thing, it like popped for me, and I realized that it was my skill set lied a lot in being able to navigate in the background. So, and the way he think, homie is a technician when it comes to like the way he perceive what's happening. Like he downloaded information like a mile a minute. So that's why that's one of the characters, and we're gonna do 5 of them, but that's one of the characters I relate to most, and it's new.
Yeah, so just to touch on that a little bit, he was one of mine as well. And
I
to your
knew,
point,
I knew it.
you already know we Asagi stands around here. But yeah, to your point, he's very situationally aware, but intrinsically he's also not very like aware of himself, if that makes sense. So like he's able to see everything around him and very observant, but he's not kind of like always like you said aware of his own superpower. So like I think that is a very relatable thing, not just for you, not just for me, but just as people in general. Because it's like, how many times can you see a superstar outside of you? You're just like, damn, that motherfucker going hard. Yeah. I wish I could be that hard. And then in reality, like you are, but you just have to make sure like you act upon it. So
it's like it speak one, that's why it makes him a really good like MC, but it speaks to that same trope that you get kind of like from Deku, from Asta, who are characters that like initially don't seem to have powers or just don't have them, and they have to like dig deep to figure out their path. So I think it makes him a very relatable character, and that's probably why we rock with him.
Very much imposter syndrome.
Man, if you work in this field, you get that a lot of times. Like being like a social media manager, you constantly feel like, do I know what I'm talking about? And that's why you have to put that stuff in action so often, because you will question yourself, and the only thing that really is proof is in the pudding. So who you pick for your first one?
I'll let you know one of my picks. I wanted to respond to Leo. He says he is more Nagi, and I can't like say that is nothing but accurate, yo. Like this man is a tactician.
Is Nagi the one with the white hair?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That is my boy Leo to a T. I'm talking about once he gets out of his kind of like boredom of something, that fire lights up, bro. Straight cash.
That was the other thing too about Asagi that I like empathize with, is because once I am competitive, it's like it is the gears switch, and it's like I want to win. Like I didn't even know that I was about to go this hard, but yeah.
But you also got to keep in mind he's also a leader, right? So in order to relate to him, you also have to relate to being a leader, because at every point in the anime, if you watch him, he's the first one to run into the Blue Lock program. He's the
That's true.
first one to take the bat. He's the first one to rile everybody up behind him. He's the first to take on the biggest elephants in the room in order to grow. Like,
And it come up out of nowhere too. Like he be sitting there, he be pondering, and then it's like something light up in him that go, "No, I ain't no bitch. Let me switch this up real quick."
yeah, like I see what's going on. Now I just gotta
Mhm.
believe in my ability to act on it. And I think that trajectory, that journey, once again, is very relatable and why we share him as a interest.
That's funny. I didn't think the first one was gonna be the one that, but I had a feeling that you had him on your list though.
Of course, of course. So one of the ones I had on my list was Shikamaru from Naruto.
Bro, we got two. We got two. I told you it was gonna be one or two, man.
So yeah, he kind of has like the what I call like the I don't want to be here syndrome, kind of where he's just like, all right, I'm not being stimulated, but at the same time, he has a level of depth to him where he is very much there for his friends. He has a deep level of care, even though it's not always like front facing and presenting. Of course, also very observant around him and his surroundings. And another thing that I really fuck with him is that he can work in the background, but and not take up space. But when he's out and about, he definitely can consume that space when he so desires and takes on some of the most challenging foes. Like,
And if you piss him off, that whole thought process turns from like, what's the like chillest way to handle this with the least amount of effort to I'm gonna get the most amount of effort to fuck you over because I don't like what you did to me.
exactly,
Because if you
exactly.
watch Naruto and you got up to the part when he get that revenge, that's hands down the sweetest revenge I've
Him
seen.
versus Hidan, yeah,
Yeah,
that nigga was 10 toes down. I'm all in on this shit. You are going down today.
but I
Stop
think what I
playing.
like the most about that is that the expression on his face was so cold. Like it wasn't even like he enjoyed it. It was like so cold. Like you never saw that from Shikamaru before.
And to that point, yeah, like that is also a thing I think is very relatable because it's like, all right, you know, I do like protecting more than I like aggressing, but like if you pull that out, like it's present, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not. It's one of those things that is cold. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. But I like I didn't think he was gonna pick Shikamaru though, but that was definitely one of them. Luckily, I had more than five in my head, so that was one of them for sure. Because like if I don't have to work that hard most of the time, I don't. But the most gets done because of how you plan it. So like when I was talking to you yesterday, I'm like I plan out all of that content like post in advance so that I don't have to work that hard. But if I do
Exactly.
see something that's worth competing at, that's where that Isagi come up out of me.
Yeah. But it's efficiency at the end of the day. And that's why I like Shikamaru. He's very efficient. He's very aware of what it takes to get something done. And, you know, even what they say Einstein is like, yo, take somebody who's lazy because they're gonna look for the shortest answer. Easiest way to the answer. It's like,
That's I you know what? I've heard that before, but it never clicks in my head. But that make a lot of sense though. It makes a lot of sense.
but now
Um,
who you got as your second pick, my guy? Let's see if we
hmm.
butt heads again. We 2-0 right now.
Yeah, see, I think this one might switch up, and I don't relate to them 100% because it was a lot of moments that I feel like this character, if y'all remember this anime, did stuff that I would have never let slide. But Kenichi from what is it, Greatest World, Greatest, what a let me look it up because I forget how
You're
you
talking
say that.
about the greatest disciple?
Yeah, the Greatest Disciple.
I got you. You know what I'm saying? Nah,
Yeah,
I fuck with him as a
yeah.
character. Yeah.
Because when you first start off, it's another one of those characters that's like they initially didn't want to do it, but was doing it and didn't know why. And it was because it was something in them that always wanted to do it, but they were just a little too too scared to try. But he always had an interest, and by the end of that series, Kenichi go wild. And shout out to Boss the Art Don for putting me up on that anime because I related to it a lot because I did martial arts too. And when he knew that, he was like, I'm surprised you've never watched Kenichi. So that's probably in my top 10 anime now.
Nah, that's a
Because
good.
just I think that is a little old, and the art style reminds me a lot of Beyblade, but the actual character progression I like a lot because it's one of those. It's almost like a Karate Kid story, but they add a lot of different things into it, and they spot on with a lot of the martial arts, like the movements that they do. So as a martial artist and as a person, I related to him a lot.
Yeah, and Kenichi, that's the thing. That boy be taking his lickings.
Mm-hmm.
So like he literally like is one of them characters that is getting it out the mud. He's getting his ass beat out the frame day in, day out. I'm sorry. I don't know if I should be cursing as well. So I
Oh no,
apologize. Let me
you
know if I
boy.
need to regulate that. But
You can go on.
um I
My
get
bad
it.
for not showing y'all comments too. You know, this is my first time using StreamYard on my own. So a lot of these features, y'all gotta work with me, man. I haven't seen them before.
So
So
from Greasy Loins, have you seen the OVAs for Kenichi? I have not. I
I've
have
seen
not.
clips though. I've seen clips, Greasy, and I'll be like, why haven't I watched this yet? Because first off, Kenichi fit in those OVAs are much better than what he wear in the actual anime. Like he be having on like the straps or the ropes. I can't quite remember, but the fit, the gi be all cut off right here. He look hard.
He be ready to turn the fuck up.
He do.
Nah, that was a good pick. That was a good pick.
My boy
I fuck
Otis.
with that pick.
That's a real life friend right there. Shout out, bro.
What's good, Otis? Yeah. So we got Greasy, who's the homie OE, big time homie, and then we got Leo, one of the hands, one of the creative hands in the Urban Summer Pod Live and Center with us, vibing.
He
Um,
said he more like Nagi.
that nigga like Nagi. When I tell you like a natural genius, where it's just like, what? Yeah.
hey, I gotta link up with you, man, because you saying some good stuff that I didn't know. You know, I was telling Sama yesterday, I'm one of them people that like to do stuff fast and don't care about the mistakes. So I give zero fucks about how inefficient this look because when I continue to do it, is going to end up being better. But I appreciate y'all being in the comments though, for real. Like, shout out to y'all because
Thank y'all for
like
pulling up.
it ain't that many people, but the amount of people never matters is who in here. So I
Oh yeah,
appreciate that.
we got some good headers in here too, like to contribute to the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
So who your third?
All right. Nah, this is my second.
Oh yeah, your second.
This is my
Your
second. All
second.
right. So I got one. We'll spice things. Nah, we ain't even gonna spice things. I ain't gonna get spicy with y'all yet. I'll wait till we get into the later ones. So one that a lot of people probably heard most recently was Ken Kaneki. Did an anime digest on that. He is one of my top 5 protagonists, but also a very relatable protagonist because you know in the beginning, my boy is just sweet. Also dealing with imposter syndrome, very intellectual but reserved and kind of unsure of himself.
That's
And
from
as you,
Tokyo Ghoul, right?
yes, that is from Tokyo Ghoul.
I haven't watched Tokyo Ghoul in its entirety, but and by its entirety, I mean I watched one episode.
So I've seen all the Tokyo Ghoul and then I've read Tokyo Ghoul as well because like the anime doesn't do it justice. But Ken Kaneki is one of my most relatable because his journey is very much imperfect, very much him trying to figure out what his parents raised him to do and behave versus how he himself wants to, kind of carry himself. So, like, basically in the beginning, he didn't want to hurt nobody. towards the end of season or after season one, he comes to this realization that if he prioritizes everybody else outside of him, that he'll basically, live a miserable life, and chose to kind of go on the extreme end of that spectrum as far as being almost emotionless and wanting to harm others without care, to kind of bouncing back in between these phases of, am I caring too much or should I be caring a little less? And it's like, it's a very good journey because he is, it's not very linear, basically.
No, I feel that.
His journey is not linear at all, and I think it's very relatable because I know, like myself and many others may can relate. Sometimes you feel like you taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, and that was very eloquently expressed to me in that series, enough for him to resonate with me on a personal level, because it's like, you're not always in the same place. Sometimes you a little harsher than you should be. Sometimes you a little more lenient than you should be.
Yeah. Sometimes when you be giving your character synopsis, if you sound a real preacher, like I be like, damn, I'm low key learning a little message from you.
That's how I digest anime, man. That's how I kind of
Really?
like watch what go on. But yeah, he's definitely a pick. I think that would be a smooth second pick, since y'all kind of probably already got that from me. But yeah, if
No,
you want to hear more, I might do some long form content for y'all.
If I had to give another one, oh man, it's one character that I relate to that my boy Boss is gonna hate me for. And I think that we all like the character because of how much we relate to him, even though we get so mad at the actual character, and that's Gohan. I can't stand Gohan like as a character. I watch him do what he has to do, and I be like, man, why aren't you going harder? But as a person, I can relate to that completely, especially him as an adult, because um he ends up like getting a family, ends up getting invested in his job, but he got all of this potential that he could be utilizing. And yeah, maybe if the world was facing as many problems as it do, and I knew I was like this half saying, maybe I would train more, but hell, maybe I wouldn't if I knew my pops and my pseudo uncle was going, protect the world from everything. But I do think that the just that feeling of having like the potential inside of you and not working as efficiently as you should, and then if you notice, Gohan does not have to work that hard to unlock that much. And I feel like whenever I go even a little hard, the results be like, damn, now if you would have done that consistently all the time, you'd be a completely different place. So Gohan for me for sure.
See, Gohan is very relatable, but they gotta cut him slack because he's so relatable. Like you said, people don't want to fuck with it because they're like,
Yeah,
yo, why ain't he training? But I'm like, yo, you gotta think Gohan been getting his ass beat since a jit. I'm talking
bro.
about this nigga was on planet Namek at what, 7 years old, getting his ass body slammed by grown ass men.
Yeah, you
Getting
gotta remember too, like life kind of beat that into Gohan. Like if you look at
he ain't want
Gohan from
that.
the beginning, he did not start off that way. Like, yeah, he was a crybaby when he was like 4, but after Piccolo kind of whooped that energy into him, Gohan was on bumpers from little kid age up until about 16. Like,
But
damn,
even
man.
then, if you look at it, he didn't want that. That was just what he was having to do because he was in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like after the last major threat was done, this nigga's like, yo, I'm gonna do just some casual superhero on. I'm tired of this shit. Y'all can have this shit. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got this. I got a family. I got other regular nigga shit to do.
And he was still protecting the world too. That was the other thing. Like it wasn't like he completely slacked. Dog's still a whole superhero. Like that's the other part of it is he's still a whole superhero. So that's crazy to me.
He chose a life of peace. He ain't gotta be the strongest nigga fighting all the time. He'll
Nope.
turn up if he got to, but
He still got that dog in him too.
yeah, especially after
But
that last movie with
yeah, but I
Sue.
was quite irritated with like one thing that I don't relate to is like that arrogance thing. I can't even say that because I got into a fight before. We used to do these things where we would meet up behind like a school or something, and we would all like fight in a circle. And one time, I had clearly beat this guy and did not beat him because I was feeling myself. And he ended up hitting me in the eye, and my eye was like messed up big time, and I couldn't see halfway through the fight, and I still ended up winning. But had I not done what I did, I would have been much better. So I was about to say something I didn't relate to him about, but I did.
See, that's your boy. But nah, I fuck with Gohan. Like I think he would also belong on our list.
Yeah. So who the next one on your list? Your number three.
All right, my number three. We'll touch a little spiciness. We'll get into a little spicy. So I'm gonna say Crollo,
Now
Lucifer.
who is that from?
That's from Hunter x Hunter.
Okay, I haven't got that far. I know who you're talking about though. He
Ah,
his energy he looks sweet.
how far have you gotten, and how we want to handle the conversation? Because I can give you,
One, you can spoil the whole thing for me because it's so old that I've seen clips that's gonna spoil it.
all right, all right.
But I'm right after they. I think I'm right when they get their hunter license.
Okay. So Crollo is the founder of the Phantom Troop, which is one of the antagonists, kind of like a Hunter x Hunter's version of the Akatsuki type shit. They represented by a spider, and he's a villain or an antagonist, I should say. But I feel like he's relatable because if you look at how he moves, he's very much protective of what he considers like his family. So basically, when the troop was created, he let them know, like, hey, I might be the head, but a spider can move without its head. It can't really get around without its legs. So don't think of me as the most important thing in case something, kind of happens to me. So it's kind of like his family, per se. When
Okay.
someone kills his family, he actually retaliates in a way that seems it's very calm and calculated, but it's also seemed very like intimate as to like, hey, you take one of ours, I'm gonna shut the whole block down, type of shit. And I feel like that's very relatable for me because I'm very friend and family focused. So yeah, that is
And
why
your
he is
whole
kind of
role with the team too, like with what you building.
yeah. And he's like smooth, man. I don't ever consider myself like very heroic or like angelic, but I like those people that kind of can teeter and make harsh decisions when need be, because sometimes those hard decisions are what we need in order to take the bigger W type stuff.
And from the clips that I've seen of him, he do get down. I saw him getting jumped, and it wasn't even like he was getting jumped. I don't know how that fight ends up being, but
Yeah,
he looks sweet though.
he was getting fought by two of the best in the industry. Like he got attacked by Kaluuya's granddad, and who was the other person that was throwing hands with him? I think it was actually his granddad and his dad, like two top tier ass assassins.
His
Going
own father.
his father, yeah, not Crollo's father, but Kaluuya's father and Kaluuya's granddad, talking about top tier assassins at his neck, and he's just like you said, moving effortlessly, smooth.
Yeah, dude was wilding.
Yeah.
Let me see my number four. This is where it gets a little dicey for me. But I'm gonna have to go with Gearless Joe
Get
from
this, Joe. Okay.
yeah, Gearless Joe from Megalobox. He got just long story short, he got that dog in him, and whenever I'm like in that competitive type of energy, that's me at its core. Like it don't seem that way because when I first kind of like talk to people or just in my day to day life, I'm pretty chill. But if you ever catch me in any competitive type setting, that's exactly how I get down. And if it's the like if the number one person was to come in and they made me feel less than, I would spend the rest of my days trying to be better than that particular person because it's just
I
like
like
that
that energy.
competitive dog. And his whole angle was he was gonna be him no matter what. Because if you watch the anime, everybody is fighting with gear on, this high tech gear, and one
Mhm.
he couldn't afford it. So I can definitely relate to that feeling of like growing up initially and you don't have everything that you would like, so you got to work harder for it. So he was gonna be himself no matter where he was, and he fought without the gear and was still putting niggas out. So
Taking W's.
that's why I agree. He said that's why you can't light fires and chill people. Yeah, that's facts.
Big facts, Leo. Creating
That's facts.
monsters out here.
For no reason. But I'm starting to notice the characters that you picking. Like, I relate to you way more than I thought I did.
Hey, shout out. Nah, like I said, you pick a very good picks. Like I've only seen some of Megalobox, so I can't speak on the whole journey. But like you said, from what I
Dog, it's a
understand of it,
short anime, and it's a very good anime. And the two seasons is polar opposite from each other. It's still really good.
okay, yeah, nah, I'm gonna have to check it out. Um, all right. So what number are we on now? Shoot.
We on number. Let's see. I picked. I picked Gohan. I
Yep.
picked Kenichi. I picked who was the other one? I picked Asagi.
Yep.
So
So
that
we
was
on
my
three.
number four. You on your number four.
Okay, I'm on number four. Okay. All right. So my next one, I don't know if y'all seen the series. I went back and watched it. It may have not been peak, but it was good at the time. I think it was like an early 2000s or like mid 2000s anime called Guilty Crown, and the character I'm picking is Shu Oma. So just give y'all a brief rundown of what Guilty Crown is. Guilty Crown is set in kind of a like dystopian um, time in Japan where there's like advanced technology and there's this ability slash virus that people are chasing. And basically, the main character comes into contact with that virus and is able to extract physical manifestations of people's souls.
You said Guilty Crown, right?
Yeah, Guilty Crown.
At a 4.9?
Oh,
Wow.
so it was rated good.
Yeah.
Hey, look at your boy. He had taste. Um, but it is like it kind of reminds me of like a Code Geass Part Two, um, and it had similar vibes with the protagonist, where basically he was well. The protagonist deals with that imposter syndrome, of course, but the biggest thing about his journey is he's also dealing with things that are a result of what has happened to him. And for him to overcome it, he's gone on the wrong side of things and taken things too far. Um, so, like, basically, there's a point where he's like, he doesn't want to hurt anybody. And then after a point, he was willing to kind of look at people as tools after he went through like a trauma. And I thought it was very relatable because it's just like, all right, you're going to have, once again, with me, you're going to have some good with the bad, you know. I may be in a healed place, I may be healing. But ultimately, his journey is also not linear. And it felt very grounded.
Hmm.
Like I could see why he would act the way he act with his position of power and his level of responsibility, because you know the crown is heavy. So when he's dealing with all this stuff, it's like, all right, do I let it get to my head? You know, do I be a kind serving king, or do I kind of be a tyrant? And it's like it's good. duality there. I think that's a major theme for my characters. It's like they all have duality.
Ben Smoke said the contract unsold. No, that's for sure. I wasn't even gonna watch it before.
I actually will probably do a digest for it.
Whenever someone get me to be quiet and I'm just listening, I'm like, man, this nigga can talk. He can say something.
I'm sorry, for better or worse, you know.
No, that's that. I gotta check that one out because when you said it sounded like, oh, this gonna be like chill, but it's probably some him stuff. But then I looked, I was like, no, this rating is pretty good.
Yeah, it's like I said, if you like Code Geass, you will probably like Guilty Crown. It follows similar, you know, principles, kind of a flow.
So number 5 is going to be very hard because there's a lot of like characters that I relate to. Not a lot, but there's more than 5, and I'm trying to boil down in my head which one.
You want to go 6? Because I got two. I got 2 that I really want to get out.
Yeah, you can. We can go 6. Like
let's do 6.
We give you all a bonus round. So one that like, because what I feel like when I ended up picking the characters is that a lot of them had similarities. Most of them had similarities, but some of them was different aspects of my character. And one of them for sure is Mugen from Samurai Champloo. Because he embodies that part of my character that just does not give a fuck. Like in my perfect world, I don't do shit but what I want to do. Like all the time. Like fuck whoever. Like I do as I please. And he can fight too. And that's the energy that I be on, is that he literally roams like mindlessly from place to place without any clear agenda and does as he pleases. But he don't go in there purposely trying to make people's lives worse. But whoever get in his way, he kind of deal with. So like personally, I don't do that from day to day, but that energy I appreciate a lot, because inside, that's what everything is working towards. Everything that I do is working to get to a place of where I just do whatever I want to do, and kind of help people along the way.
Hell yeah, nah, I fuck with him. He's a dope ass character. But like you said, you fuck around with that motherfucker, you gonna find out every single time. No questions asked. Like,
and I like too that although he seems to be like not that smart, off first glance, a lot of what he does is like instinctually brilliant. Like he creates one. When he fought the Hand of God, he pointed out that your instincts is keen, and you use these erratic movements to disguise your true intentions. And that's just, you would not get that from first glance. And I think that when you sit down and kick it with me long enough, you'd be like, yo, dude got a lot of ideas in his head moving at the same time. But most people think I'm just here making memes.
I can attest to that. I can attest to that intellect.
So yeah, that's I definitely, for my number 5, it was Mugen. But we're gonna be all bonus round.
Good pick. All right. So my 5th pick is Lelouch from Code Geass. We're gonna segue from the Code Geass lookalike into the masterpiece.
I almost put him on my list, but I was like, I don't want to ruin the ending, but it been out. I would never have done what he did. Never.
See, that's the thing. I don't agree with all of his actions, but I see the understanding and like understand kind of where he comes from, because he's going based off of everything he knows. So basically, for those who know the story, Lelouch is basically a reflection of his father, which is the person he hates the most. And you can see that even though he doesn't want to be him, he shares a lot of similarities and tactics. So he's intellectual, but I feel like he's relatable because it's like, all right, a lot of times you try and grow up to not be the thing you hate the most, but still end up being similar to said thing. I also think that he's a very emotionally grounded person, even though he gets very emotional throughout the series, because he is, what's the way to put it? He's responding to these traumatic things and making the hard decisions that others around him may not want to be like comfortable doing. Also, very observant. He looks at the laying field similar to Asagi, like it's basically like a chessboard. Um, Sometimes he does. I don't agree with him looking at people as pawns,
Yeah,
but I also get why he's like, all right, you. If I try to explain this to you, you might not understand the overall thing. It's best to only give you the next step instead of the next 10 steps because that may affect how you're gonna move in a certain type of way.
he was just so calculating. Like, a part of me I could relate to him, but to a degree, he almost got like Light did. It not as bad because he ended up doing something very selfless, but um, yeah, I couldn't relate 100%, but I can see where you was going with that.
But yeah, to that point though, like, all right, we've known people who've done good things. We know that typically if you do anything horrendous or bad, that it'll be the last mark on your legacy. But he's also able to take stock of what he's doing. And it's not, to your point, it's not like Light because Light is thinking he's always in the right.
Yeah,
Lelouch is able to know he's in the wrong, but know he needs to, act on that wrong in order to serve that ultimate goal.
and that's what
Um,
stops him from being a pure-blooded sociopath.
the
Like,
only line, the only
yeah,
line.
is being able to know that what you're doing is wrong and have that dividing line there.
Yeah. So when I say I relate to him, I also want to be clear that I relate to his better aspects, but I also understand him as like a cautionary tale because that's how you can be, you know. That's how I can potentially be. So in which case I need to make sure that there's checks and balances always in place to make sure that I'm more of the Suzaku out of the situation without being like a whipping boy because Suzaku he's a little too complacent, too compliant.
Now, what I found interesting about all of your picks is much like mine. You did not pick any emo type characters like that really dive deep into that, like sulking and let it like change who they are. Because not that I think badly of anybody that picks somebody like Sasuke, but I can't stand somebody like Sasuke because it'd be like, dang, it's in the world that he live in is so much badness that everybody could have been like him. But
Yeah.
you know, it is
Well,
what it is.
it's funny you say that because I think to some degree all of the characters on my list do sulk. I think Lelouch been found crying after blowing somebody's brains out. Shikamaru is kind of his "I don't want to be here" syndrome is almost like a form of sulking.
Hmm.
Sagi, of course. So I think there is, but to your point, it doesn't define them. It
Yeah,
doesn't
being emotional does not mean that you let it completely change and engulf your character.
exactly.
So
But
yeah, any
thank
relatable character has layers.
exactly. But thanks to Trap blessing us with the bonus round, we gonna give you our last picks for the
Yeah.
for the session. I'm curious to hear which one Trap is about to give us.
So for me, and I was wondering how like it didn't pick up as like one of my number one or twos, but luckily this ain't no ranking list. But Senku from Doctor Stone, like Senku,
Hey,
hands down is like one of my top 10 characters now. because I can relate to that so much. Like early on in life, I was one of those kids who like was always getting straight A's, number one on the dean's list type trophies for like our states, science awards and stuff like that. Like if anybody was to ask you what like 8-year old, 9-year old me was gonna grow up to be, I and them would tell you scientists. I used to have the microscopes and the slides and
My man was all in. Hold on.
bro, all of that. One time I read this book, like this college level book in like 5th grade about biology, and I could tell you like the combustion temperature of a piece of paper. Like that's what I
That's
was in.
impressive. That's impressive.
And when I see how he took that, but it turned him into like the type of character that he is. He not just smart with the science, but he hella chill. Like, and he innovative. And he could take mud and make it something. So, like me, I don't need that much to make something. And I not only the science part, but that aspect of his character, and then the raw confidence in his own style and him constantly what is it? I don't know how to say it, but constantly finding confidence in himself and regenerating that confidence, for a lack of a better word, is what I like the most. Because even when it seemed like something tough, he makes science tough and he come out on top. Like he like, all right, I don't got hands, but I got this. All right, I don't got
resourceful.
that. It's extremely resourceful. So that's me. I could add anything and make something out of it. Like when I first did this, all I had was an iPhone 6 that was glitching the whole time and was still making memes off of that. So
hey, that's that tenacity, man. And that's another thing that Senku definitely has, rebuilding the whole civilization from scratch. So that's a very I fuck with that pick. That was very insightful, you know.
Yeah. That when I saw him, I was like, this speaks to my soul.
Yeah, I love that series because, to your point, might is not right. Like you can literally outsmart yourself of any situation that he's at a physical disadvantage for, and I love that.
Also, one of the biggest things I like about him is he laugh at his mistakes. Like he could make a mistake.
True.
Like,
that is true.
I miscalculated that, and do not think about it longer than a second. That's me for sure. I'd be like, oh well, it happened.
Nah, I hold on to fuck ups. I gotta make sure them shits don't happen again. Yeah, nah. That's why I fuck with him, but he ain't on the list for a reason.
No, niggas, like people will be in the car with me, man, like, and be like, you missed the turn, and like we'll be freaking out. I'll be like, okay, so we turn around.
Yeah, I like that. I envy that lifestyle. It seems like it's very, zen.
Yeah, I try. But who your bonus round pick?
All right, so my bonus round pick, drum roll please, is none other than Itachi Uchiha.
What? I'm surprised at that one. I'm surprised at that one.
That was one of the spicy ones. That's why I was like, you gotta let me get it in there. This is good content right here.
Because that don't seem like you. That don't seem like you.
All right. So what aspects don't seem like me? Let me ask that question.
You know what?
What aspects of Itachi are you referencing?
Not, you know what? The ones that we thought he was like. The ones that we thought he was like.
The surface level.
Yeah, actually, our first glance at him is what I don't think is like you. But as we get to see him more, I can see why. Bro, I slick hair Sasuke. No wonder we
exactly, Leo. You know what the fuck going on.
I know you got to show off the tat. You pick a tat.
Yeah, so I'm big in like anime tats. This was a recent hand piece. It is the Sharon Renegon, Eternal Tsukiyomi shit. I got a couple more. I've been told I need to do a post about it. I may. We'll see. I got to get comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
I feel
But
you.
yeah. So Itachi, and I know that sounds crazy, and you might be like, "Hold on," but hear me out. Hear me out. All right. Itachi is a very layered and complex character. I relate to that layered because I feel very layered myself and complex. So much so that it's actually sometimes hard to connect and easily be misunderstood. The same way that Itachi was. Now, similar to everybody on the list, he is not an inherently bad, but also not an inherently good person. You know what I'm saying? Like he did do cause one of the worst atrocities for the Hidden Leaf, but because of his emotional maturity and understanding of how the world worked, he was able to action on this seemingly unforgivable thing against his own flesh and blood.
Yeah.
So with that, yeah, so that's kind of a thing, but at the same time, he was even so mindful of, hey, I can't save everybody, but I'm going to protect the most precious thing to me, which is my little brother, and make sure, hey, I'm finna do this wild shit for you that really goes against kind of who I am. But what you gotta do is make sure my little nigga is good.
Yeah,
And I always
that's
respected
crazy.
that
That's the
of him.
only one he cared about, though. I would have had to look out for moms and pops too. But it was
But
clear why he couldn't look out for his dad.
yeah, but realistically, you got to think of what your options are. Like he understood, like, okay, I am very much attached to my family, but they are doing evil things.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I have to detach myself from my family and essentially, in his eyes, do the right thing, even though it objectively can be considered, the wrong thing. One might say you could talk it out, but if we look at the story and the history, that shit wouldn't get
Yeah,
talked out.
and we didn't want about to talk nothing out there.
That shit won't go get talked out.
They would
He
talk too much already. He didn't
exactly.
fight.
And another thing is he sets himself aside for the bigger picture, which some people in the chat may be able to attest to. I will, you know, I'll go out the way to try and like make sure the people around me are good and uplifted before I might necessarily take care of myself. You can view me however you want, but how you handle and respect the people I care about is more important to me. And I think that is one of those characteristics that Itachi hold very strong for himself, um, and
Yeah,
able to not let the perception of himself get in the way of his mission. Ultimately,
I think too. A big thing that I like noticed about your list and my list, although very similar, was one thing that they didn't have in common that I think speaks like to me as a person is that although I'm a people person, I'm initially not. Like where I'll be like, I would prefer to do things where I get to do it the way I want to do it on my own without having to be in a group. And a lot of the same people that you pick show those qualities, but they eventually like kind of add to the group too. So
yeah,
like where Gearless Joe for me is like initially just a dog on his own. His dreams unite people. So he unites the kid, it unites pops. It like you know everybody. Mugen the same way. He would have preferred to just do his own thing, but he ends up with two of the other main characters. And I think for you, it's that yin and yang kind of going on with the same
got
character.
to, got to strongly like you said. All these characters are very much independent, but to your point, have grown to a point where they are like understanding that even as independent as they can be, they're always stronger with others. Like Shu from Guilty Crown, his ability literally depends on the manifestation of someone else's soul. It wasn't until the end where he could, I think, reach
Oh, I
into
gotta see
himself.
that one. I gotta see that one.
Yeah, like it wasn't literally until the end where he could reach into his own soul and pull out the manifestation that is in it. So it's just like I I understand that I can go far as an individual, but I understand that bigger dreams, greater feats, you know, explosive, I don't fucking know, like ideas and amazing things come from group work. So that's why like I love like, you know, being able to chop it up, work with you. I love being able to work with Leo. I get inspiration all the time from the homie OE. You know, Be Nice, Clutch, a few others. It's just like once you have that community, you're able to take things further than you'd ever be able to do just on your lonesome, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Like I was just typing in, letting them know. Next time I got to get your links. I'm gonna go ahead and drop them like in the post. But thank you for coming on. Like
Absolutely.
first homie that I had on here, first person that I thought of to have on here because he been doing some very good core work with his content. When I say that, I mean creating some content that I think people will like and is gonna stick around for a while. So go ahead and check UrbanSama out on everything. Luckily, his name is very unique. Their name is very unique, so you ain't got to worry about it being different on anything. Just the same thing everywhere. Is there anything that you want to let people know before we close out?
Nah, I just want to say thank you for having me on. Appreciate you sharing your time. Appreciate the ability to geek out and, you know, share our favorite characters. Felt like I got to learn a little bit more about you. Felt like I got to share a little bit more of myself with you and the audience. And, you know, just want to express my gratitude for the opportunity.
Oh, for sure, bro. You know, it's all love.
Sir.
Check us out, man. Check out UrbanSama on everything. Y'all already know TrapDragon-Z, but if you don't, go ahead and follow me too. It's the same name on everything except my new TikTok, because TikTok was trying to play me on my first profile. So on TikTok, TrapDragon-Z, or TrapDragon.Z. And let us know afterwards which characters you relate to the most too. I know I did another post about it, but you know, show love on this one too.
Do you? And then also let us know if you agree with our picks. Like, did we make trash picks? Are we suspect? You know, talk to us. What's up? I know I threw a couple out there. I want to see what y'all got to say. How y'all, and you know, like you said, see who you relate with. Because I like a good combo. I like a good combo. Yeah, I'm willing to defend anybody I put up. I put it that way.
When you said spicy, I was scared you was gonna say Griffin. So I was like, I don't know.
Nah. I don't. I can understand him, but I don't relate to him.
Not at all. Although I will say, I don't think I would have done what he did. But when they found homie, he was toe up. So
that's a whole nother combo. We could rabbit hole we could go down because Griffith did wrong.
And that's it.
That's all I'm gonna leave.
That's it.
Griffith did wrong.
All right, peace, y'all. Thanks for sticking around.
Peace.
Have y'all a good weekend.